What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports. And after yesterday's big blockbuster move with Ryan Ellis being traded to the Flyers, and also yesterday's deadline for the protection list for the upcoming expansion draft being due, now they have finally been released and the Flyers have revealed who they are protecting for this upcoming expansion draft and who they are exposing for Seattle to pick this upcoming Wednesday. So let's go over this list. Let's see who the Flyers protected, and let's see who they left exposed for Seattle to take, hopefully. So it's a very interesting list because, with them trading Nolan Patrick and Phil Myers, those two guys were definitely going to get protected on this list. So now with those two gone, Ryan Ellis is now added to the list of defensemen. The Flyers now protect Nicolas Aube-Kubel over what was rumored to be James Van Riemsdyk, which is honestly an interesting choice because Chuck Fletcher is now leaving all of his expensive contracts to possibly be taken by Seattle. So going over the rest of this list, you have Nicolas Aube-Kubel, you have Sean Couturier, you have Claude Giroux, you have Kevin Hayes, Travis Konechny, Scott Laughton, and Oscar Lindblom to wrap up the forwards who were protected on this list. So yeah, that was basically obvious what the forwards were going to be because you have some no movement clauses. You have Sean Couturier, who you're definitely going to protect. Travis Konechny, who you're obviously going to protect. Scott Laughton, you just re-signed him to that contract. You were obviously going to protect him, and Oscar Lindblom, the same deal. And basically, it was the decision after Patrick gets traded, who are you protecting, JVR, or are you protecting Nicolas Aube-Kubel? And Aube-Kubel was the choice. So that leaves Jake Voracek and JVR exposed in the expansion draft this year. So let's go over to the defense side. It was obvious. Ivan Provorov, Travis Sanheim, and Ryan Ellis after Phil Myers gets traded. That was basically obvious. Ryan Ellis slides in to that protection list over Phil Myers. So that was basically all that was going to be. And obviously the goaltender that is protected is Carter Hart. So if you look at the people that are left unprotected, like I mentioned, it was James Van Riemsdyk and Jake Voracek. Also, Shane Gostisbehere will be exposed, Robert Haig will be exposed, and Justin Braun will be exposed in the expansion draft as well as more of the notable guys that are going to be left unprotected for the Flyers' sake in order for Seattle to pick. So in terms of people that were exempt for this expansion draft, let's just go over those lists as well. So you got Wade Allison, he's exempt. Jackson Cage, he's exempt. Joel Farabee, Morgan Frost, Tanner Linzinski, Maxim Shushko, Cam York, Yegor Zamula. And then also you got some other prospects that are not also exempt as well. Emil Andre, Attard, Bobby Brink, Jay O'Brien, all those guys are exempt as well. So the list for the Flyers was going to be probably really obvious in terms of majority of their forwards and all three of their defensemen after Phil Myers got traded, and obviously Carter Hart. So going into this expansion draft, Chuck Fletcher is leaving all of his expensive contracts exposed. JVR, who has 2 years left making around $7 million. Jake Voracek, I think, who has 3 or 4 years left on his contract, and he's making around 8.5. And then you got Shane Gostisbehere, who has another, I think, 3 or 4 years left on his deal, and he's making around $4.5 million. And then you got the cheaper contracts in Robert Haig and Justin Braun, also left there to be exposed. So Chuck Fletcher is really banking on Seattle taking one of those 3 expensive contracts. I would assume he's more hoping that they take either Voracek or a guy like a Van Riemsdyk, because I know all those rumors about Chuck Fletcher, especially if you go listen to the Snow the Goalie podcast, they definitely asked that question about Jake Voracek and Chuck Fletcher. He's a respected guy, but in terms, like, all things do eventually come to an end, and right now he looks like he's really banking on Seattle taking a guy like a Jake Voracek. And I know there's a bunch of rumors going around right now about Vladimir Tarasenko possibly being on the Flyers' radar as well in terms of Seattle, but right now you take all those rumors with a grain of salt, and right now the rosters are frozen. I don't think you can make any trades until the expansion draft happens, so we're just going to have to wait and see. In terms of people that I hope Seattle takes, I would assume it's going to be one of the 3, Voracek, JVR, or Gostisbehere. Who knows, maybe they can turn around and take a Justin Braun or a Robert Haig, but I do think Chuck Fletcher is going to work a deal with Ron Francis, their GM, to take a guy like a Voracek or a JVR. And Chuck Fletcher also has been rumored that maybe a guy who Seattle takes, maybe Chuck Fletcher works out a deal to maybe bring in one of those guys that they take and in turn from one of the Flyers' people that were left unprotected. So you just never know what's going to happen. So it's going to be a very exciting week, definitely. Very exciting. And I can't wait for this upcoming expansion draft. Yesterday was a great start to the Flyers offseason acquiring Ryan Ellis. This is the next step, seeing who Seattle can take in expansion draft. Seeing maybe who the Flyers can trade with Seattle for the expansion draft. So we're all going to have to wait and see. So I want to hear your thoughts on the protection list from the Flyers. What are your thoughts on that? Who do you think Seattle's going to take? Do you think the Flyers are going to work a trade with Seattle during the draft? I want to hear all of those thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below, so don't forget to leave those down there. Don't forget to drop a like on this video, and don't forget to check out the Painted Lines, which I am a part of. Their links will be in the description below. And also, don't forget to check out the links to Broads Media, the Flyered Up Pod merchandise website, and we'll be doing a Flyered Up podcast later today. I would say more closer towards the late afternoon, early evening, so definitely stay tuned for that. And also, don't forget to check out Flyers Nitty Gritty. All of those links will be down in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, everyone, and I will see you next time.